Welcome back to Doing Business As, the small business law podcast from Tracktown Law. I'm Jared Height, attorney and founder of Tracktown Law, a virtual law firm based in Eugene, Oregon. I help small business owners across Oregon and Idaho set up, clean up, and pass on their businesses with as little red tape and as much clarity as possible. If you're just joining us, this is a new podcast, but not my first one. For the past few months, I've been publishing Passing the Baton, a twice-weekly podcast on estate planning. That series covers wills, trusts, Oregon estate tax, and what happens when people die without a plan. This series, it's about what happens when they run a business without one. And before we get started, here's the standard issue disclaimer. I'm a licensed attorney in Oregon and Idaho, but listening to this podcast doesn't create an attorney-client relationship, and nothing you hear should be taken as legal advice for your specific situation. For that, I suggest booking a consultation with an attorney who knows your details. All right. Today we're talking about sole proprietorships, the most common business structure in the US and also possibly the most dangerous. Let's start with why they're everywhere. A sole proprietorship is the default. You don't have to file anything with the state, register a business name, or even realize you've created one. If you're an individual doing business under your own name, selling services, making products, running a freelance gig, you're a sole proprietor by default. That default status makes it simple, quick, and free. And for many people, that sounds just fine. No fees, no paperwork, no complications. You get a business license if your city requires it, maybe file a DBA to use a different name, and off you go. But here's the trade-off. In a sole proprietorship, there is no legal separation between you and your business. You are one and the same. And that creates a giant liability problem. If the business is sued, you're sued. If the business goes into debt or signs a contract it can't fulfill, you're on the hook personally. That means your personal savings, your home, your car, all of it could be exposed in a legal or financial dispute. And no, it doesn't matter how small your business is. You don't need to have employees or a storefront to run into problems. One bad client, one injury, one failed contract, and suddenly the simplicity of your sole proprietorship becomes a liability you didn't plan for. Now, some people assume that business insurance will protect them, and yes, general liability insurance is smart, but insurance is a patch, not a wall. It has limits. Policies don't cover everything, and if your insurance denies a claim or the damages exceed your coverage, you're still on the hook personally. Other folks figure, I'm not doing anything risky. I'll just consult. I'll just sell handmade items. I don't need anything formal. That might feel true, until a client claims your advice cost them money, or your product injures someone, or you accidentally use copyrighted material, or your business owes back taxes, and the IRS doesn't care what kind of structure you have. Risk doesn't scale with your revenue, it scales with exposure. And if you have clients, vendors, or the public involved in any way, you have exposure. Let's also talk about perception. Operating as a sole proprietorship can limit your credibility. Vendors may hesitate to extend credit. Clients may question your professionalism. Banks may decline to offer business loans or credit cards unless you have formed a real entity. It's not just about liability. It's about signaling that you take what you're doing seriously. Now, to be fair, there are scenarios where a sole proprietorship makes sense. For a while. If you're just testing a business idea, haven't made much money yet, or only take on one or two very low-risk projects a year, it might be reasonable to keep things informal, but that's not a long-term strategy. It's a temporary phase. The problem is that most people don't treat it that way. They stay in sole prop limbo for years. Their revenue grows, their client list expands, they start hiring help or leasing equipment, and suddenly they're a real business operating with no legal firewall. That's when problems get expensive. So when should you make the switch? The short answer: when your business becomes consistent. If you're earning steady revenue, interacting with the public, signing contracts, hiring help, or building something you actually care about, it's time to form a proper entity. In Oregon and Idaho, that usually means forming a limited liability company, an LLC. It's flexible, relatively simple to maintain, and offers real liability protection if used correctly. We'll go deeper into LLCs in our next episode. For now, the important thing is recognizing that a sole proprietorship is not a business structure you choose. It's one you slide into by default, and like most defaults, it's designed for simplicity, not protection. If you're operating that way now, Don't panic. This isn't about shaming DIY entrepreneurs. It's about helping you make better decisions going forward. You don't have to become a legal expert, but you do need to know enough to avoid stepping on the same landmines I've watched countless business owners trigger, often unknowingly. If you're not sure whether you're still in sole prop territory or whether your setup is actually protecting you, I offer free consultations through Tracktown Law. I'll give you a straightforward answer about whether it's time to restructure, what that looks like, and how much it costs. You can schedule that anytime at tracktownlaw.com. It's fast, virtual, and designed for people who don't have time to figure it out on their own. And if you'd rather read than listen, or want to forward this to a friend who thinks Venmo and a Canva logo count as a business plan, there's a full write-up of this episode on the blog at tracktownlaw.com. It includes the key takeaways and a link to book if you're ready to take the next step. While you're there, you'll also see I offer estate planning. It's flat fee, transparent, and built for people who want clarity, not confusion. If your business is worth protecting, your family probably is too. For more on that, check out my other podcast, Passing the Baton. Same voice, different disaster scenarios. Next time we'll dive into LLCs, what they are, why they're so popular, and what people get wrong when they assume an LLC protects them automatically. It's one of the most common and most misunderstood structures out there. If you're even thinking about forming one, you won't want to miss it. Thanks for listening.